G'day guys, Ralph Mayhew here. Great to see you today. And today I want to solve a problem. And the problem is how to reduce the size and the weight of this monster so that when I'm landscape photographizing, I can do it much less exhaustingly, because this thing weighs a ton. So that's what we're talking about today as we explore the new TechArt Adapter. What? All right, so let me just explain the deal. When I bought the Nikon Z6, I had to get an adapter, which is this little thing in here, to make all my old Nikon lenses work with my new camera. Works fantastically, can't rate it highly enough. One of the lenses I have is this Tamron 15-30, and it is very heavy. It's like a kilo, and you put it on with the adapter, and the thing is huge. And I'll link a video at the end of this video that shows you what happens, because when you put it on a tripod, it starts doing this because it's too heavy here, and it has no collar on the lens. So you mount it from here, from the adapter, and it does this. Now, in my other world, my usual vlogging camera, today I'm vlogging on this camera. There's my new vlogging setup that I'll talk about in a few weeks' time, I'm sure. But this is my Canon setup. This is an M50 with a speed adapter. Sorry, not a speed adapter, with a speed adapter that transforms a crop sensor M50 to be able to use an EOS lens. And so the EOS lens I have chosen is one that's highly recommended. It's 16-35, means I can take video really close, really wide. Love this lens. It's 2.8. It's 2.8, right? Same range as this. Look at the size, the difference. This one is 600 grams or so. This is like a kilo. So I thought, what if I can find an adapter that makes this camera work with this lens? And this is the solution. There's actually a couple of solutions out there. This is the cheapest, and so I thought I'd do a review on it because there's one review out there that's not necessarily that helpful. I didn't find that helpful, so I still felt it was a bit of a gamble. So what I've done is I've made the video that I wanted to watch before I bought this to see whether you too should buy it to convert one brand lenses with another brand camera, which is what it does. So let's have a look, shall we? Have a look in here. While you're waiting for me to open this, if you want to subscribe below, that would be amazing. 70% of my viewers, 70% of you guys love these videos. You keep coming back, but you haven't subscribed yet. So please subscribe. It would help the channel a great deal. Now, ready? Oh, you get this lovely little box. This is foam, very special. And in it is the adapter. Now, what's interesting about this is it has a hub connected. So one of the lens caps is actually a hub that you can connect to the computer to get your firmware. So I tried, and it's a total and utter waste of time. You cannot download the firmware to this. The tech support is atrocious, and basically the problem is it's all written in a foreign language, which appears to be some form of Chinese with a lot of characters. And when you Google translate what they're saying, it says it doesn't even recognize their own product through their own download on their own firmware thing. So I realized very soon after getting this that I couldn't use the firmware. So the review will be based on how it goes without a firmware update, assuming, of course, that there is an accurate firmware update for this, which the website implies there is, as does this product. So you have to then fiddle around with this little button to pop it off. And that little button, you know, when you go out in the field and you have your gear and you're like, oh, I'll grab this thing for that, and you get your lens caps mixed up. This is a little bit tricky. It's not just a twist thing, it's a pull up and twist thing, and then you've got to get it in the right place. There's also no external circular indicator of where it plugs in. There is an internal one, that red dot right there. So there's an internal one. So it's a bit tricky to know where to place it on your camera. But let me just show you how it works. So we'll take off this monstrosity, and then you have this red dot on the inside that you line up with your white dot on the outside, and it's on. So we're halfway there. Then this thing's got this funny little clip. I don't know what that does. You can just turn it and take it off. There's no glass in this adapter. So it's just a ring all the way through that basically has this mount and that mount. I wanted it to be electronic so that I could affect all like the autofocus and the aperture and so forth from the camera body and not have any of it manual. You can pick up manual ones that are basically just a rim that you plug the lens in and then you fiddle with the lens and you fiddle with the body, but I wanted more auto control. So let's take the lens off of here, put that aside, and again we've got this red dot on the side of the lens, and then we've got this internal red dot. We click it in there and we now, that is much lighter, much more compact. I don't think I would have any problem at all. That is extremely light. It's using a Canon lens on a Nikon body. I don't know what Canon or Nikon think about that, but who cares? They're not going to watch this video, are they? And I can now take this out and shoot with it. So what I'm going to do is exactly that. I'm going to wait for a nice sunset, or what I think one's coming up, and we're going to go outside, we're going to take some photos, I'll have a chat to you, and we can see if this deal has the goods. How does it autofocus? Is it have much vignetting? Does it distort in the corners? Will it generally satisfy the needs that a landscape photographer may have for this lens on this body using the TechArt adapter? All right, so we've come out, and what I'm going to do is, this is a lake, if you look over here, with the sun going down and some really high cloud above it. Okay, so this is the setup, and to give you a little bit of comparison, this is what I've been trying to avoid, which is my massive wide Tamron, but much sleeker, much lighter, looks much less ridiculous. And the scene is looking good. This is what we're looking at, with the kids adding to the ambience of the evening as we see some of this high cloud up here hopefully light up. Alright, I've just done some images of the autofocus and it actually holds up really, really well in low light. The sky is looking really nice, and so we're going to do a few exposures. I'm going to try it on 2.8, then I'm going to try it on 9, and then I'm going to try it on, let's say, 18, and I'm going to expose accurately for light all the way through so we can have a bit of a reference. I'm now going to go the other end. I'm going to go 16 mils, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to shoot at 2.8, 9, and 18, and we'll see the difference, and I think you will find that there's massive vignetting on the 2.8 end of things. We'll just do that now. Now, to make things fair, let's shoot at 24 now. So let's have 3 at 24. I'll give you a look at the sky so you can see how far it's sort of traveled and moved. It's looking really pretty. Some nice oranges, and I reckon we might get some pinks out of this too before we're done. Look at this sky. Oh, it's looking so good, isn't it? And because of the light I can shine on my face, you can still see the colors in the sky. So far, I'm really impressed with the adapter. The autofocus seems to have sorted itself up if you focus it into the sky or if you focus it onto the water. So when you hit the horizon, it doesn't seem to work. But when you go where there's a bit of color differentiation, it seems to work really, really well. The images on the back of the camera are looking splendid. And I'm just going to enjoy this. I've taken a bit of a time lapse, so maybe you can enjoy the sunset too, and then we'll talk a little bit about the images and whether this thing is worth investing your money in, given it's one of the cheaper ones on the market to take a Nikon body and use a Canon lens. The studio, and I'll just take you through some of the images here. I've got my daughter to run around and come up close, go further away. So she started off not very impressed, but when she got the hang of it, she really leaned into her personality. So she went far away, came really close, and I just let the autofocus work. It worked really quick, and then snagged that. She then went back, and again, it's pretty sharp. I went here. Yeah, it was picking up. I said then, all right, move around, go from side to side. So she ducked to her left. It did that. I don't know where she is here. Where is she? Oh, she went further back, and it eye tracked all the way, face tracked, pulled it up. She was moving around, so I would say that was very effective. The autofocus works about that well on my other lenses too. It's perhaps not quite as sharp as the native Z lens, but the other ones, that's pretty bang on. So I was really impressed. It was also low light, so these are shot on an ISO of 1400, so they've come up really good. The light was fading through the day, so I was really pleased that it could pick up in low light and got these sort of results. All right, now let's go to the experiment that we just put on, or you got to see. So I then set the camera to, what did I set it on first? I set it to 35 mils, which is the more focused end of the lens, and I shot on 2.8. So this is it at 2.8. Just reset that. So that was 2.8 on a correctly exposed, according to the camera settings. So that was 2.8, and then this was 18, and then this was 9. So 9 should be about your strongest range. And here's what's interesting. If we, as I did before, if we bump up the exposure on this to, let's say, 3.39, we'll do the same here. It's a bit less, but it doesn't really matter. And here, what you'll see is the 2.8 vignettes a little. So there's a darker curve around the corners than there is on the other lens. Now let's zoom in right in to the edge. And I want you to look at that tree, and then look at this tree, sharper, you see, and then this tree, which is back out to 9, is sharp. So 2.8, it really struggles, but 9, even through to 18, and the lens goes up to 22, so even through to 18, it's still pretty sharp on the edges. Now let's go to 2.8 on 16 mil, and as you can see, it's really blurry just here. That's no good at all. But if we go to 9, it actually starts to sharpen up. It looks pretty sharp, and then we're zoomed in like a heap. Look how far we're zoomed in. And then if I go again to 18, it comes pretty sharp. So I was again quite pleased. If we zoom out here too, there is vignetting. You see this vignetting up here? It's dark, and it's dark. Down here you can't tell because it's dark anyway. It's dark here. Whereas if I go to the 9, it goes. So there it is. There it isn't. So vignetting is darkness around the corners and the edges of your frame. And then if I go, and again, if I go up to 18, no vignetting. And then if I shoot at 25 mils, and I just take that exposure down a little bit, you can see again, it's just darker in the edges. See, this is the what is it, 9 aperture at 25 mil, and it's quite even here. It's quite even here. But if we go to 2.8, it gets darker here than it is here. It's darker here, and you don't really want that. But so at 2.8, it really struggles. And again, that's right on the edge. You can see it's just it's really quite blurry. If we bring in some comparison, we go to what is it, 9, it becomes much sharper. And again, if we go to 18 and we bump up this, it's actually it's pretty sharp, it's pretty good, and also no vignetting. So my takeaways are that if you don't shoot on 2.8, you won't get a vignette. So the more you decrease your aperture, you bump up your f-stop to, I think, anywhere from 6 or 7 onwards, you won't have any problems with vignetting. You can go all the way up without a worry, and that is the same. It's consistent through the focal range of the lens. So whether it starts at 18, or whether you shoot at 16 or you shoot all the way up at 35, you get the same sort of results. The autofocus, as I mentioned in the previous video, it picks up okay when you move to more of a contrasted area. But once I had a bit of a play with that, it was actually quite smooth, it was quite good, and picked up the areas that I wanted to pick up on. So, well done, TechArt. So the TechArt adapter, should you, shouldn't you? I did. There wasn't enough reviews to back up my purchase, but I'm glad I did. It saved me lugging around a massive lens that I couldn't use on a tripod. It's enabled me to use some of the gear I already have in new ways. I shoot with a lot of other Canon users, and now I can pinch their lenses to my heart's content. I can also have available to me the Canon range of lenses, which is really good. And this cost me 322 bucks. So I paid for this. It was a bit of a gamble. It was literally half the price of the other contenders out there. And you know what? I rate it. I bought it. I'm happy with it. And I would hope that you might have the same experience. But again, do your research. You need to make a decision that's right for you. But as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a good purchase, and it's going to find a permanent home in my camera bag. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a thumbs up. If it was helpful in any way, if you have any questions that I might be able to answer about this, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to interact with you there and get to know you. Otherwise, have a great week. Hope you're well, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.